Evening, guys. This is Hasper TV, and tonight I'm going to try something a bit different. So, rather than having a guest on, I'm going to do a very short solo stream and just give some post-match thoughts from yesterday's game. Now, to start off with, I thought it was a good win. We really need to get the 3 points, especially with Man City next Saturday at 5:30, and with the Marseille game in midweek. I felt like in defence yesterday, Longley made a massive difference compared to Davies against low blocks. Longley will, I think, make a massive difference. His passing was a lot more positive. He was a lot more forward. The return of Romero also very welcome yesterday. You can see the difference in class between Romero and Sanchez, can't you? Really. I thought Emerson again. He played well, but his delivery again lets him down, and I think that's probably going to be a weakness going into late parts of the season when we're going to need a player to really deliver off the other side. Session made a start on the left wing back slot yesterday. Perisic dropped to the bench. Now, going against his old club, I thought Sessegnon put in a good shift. I think he was better than his normal standards, I guess, that he set himself. He pressed a lot higher. I felt like he put more crosses in. But again, you can see the difference in class between Perisic and Sessegnon for me. Furthermore, if you're going to midfield, you've got Bentancur, who for me was almost the best player on the pitch yesterday. Bentancur makes us tick. His recycling of the ball for me is absolutely top class. He gets the ball, finds the nearest pass or the best pass on for himself, puts it in, and we carry on. Højbjerg, I think he's probably come along under much criticism over the season, even though he's scored his second goal now already, and we've only been like 6 games. And considering the position he plays, Højbjerg was very good. He ran the midfield again with Bentancur, and I think he's sort of underrated, isn't he, Højbjerg? I think if we look at the other side, like I mentioned, with Sessegnon and Emerson, I thought they were both all right overall. But if we're really gonna, go and challenge like the likes of like Liverpool, Man City over a 38 game season, we're going to need better, I think, if I'm being honest. And maybe in January they will revisit the situation, because down the right side, I think we do need someone better than Emerson. As for the front three, I'm going to touch on Son first. Son, for me, he looked better, but I still think he's out of form. That chance he had in the first half where he was put through, I can't remember who it was by, and he hit the bar from a very close range. I think it was probably like 3 or 4 yards. And for me, an informed Son would have scored that goal. Now, the good thing from yesterday from Son that I noticed was that at least he was making the runs again. At least his work rate seemed a bit better. He was driving a lot more players as well. So he is in for a shout, I say, for Wednesday. But if I was being honest, I don't think he's my preferred lineup. And I will go into that near the end of this video. Don't forget, again, it's a very short stream. Okay, and then going to Kane. I think Kane this season, I think he's playing a bit further up, if I'm being honest. And I think it's, in a way, it's not to his detriment. I think it's beneficial to him because I think he's scoring more goals. Like, he's got a goal almost every single game this year. And he's getting more in the box. I mean, his finish was almost instinctive yesterday. And just to add with Kane, I think it might be affecting Son a bit, because in the past, Son would benefit off Kane dropping off and him making a run. Now, it's not really happening as much, right? So Son is making runs more now, and maybe he's getting hold of Bill a bit more yesterday than he was in the past like 4 or 5 games. But the Kane-Son link-up for me, it's not the same as last year. It's not the same under the Jose year even. I think that was the best we saw of Kane with Son, if I'm being completely honest. But Conte's got them playing a sort of different style. Now I'm going to go on to my man of the match, Richarlison. There's a lot of words I can say about Richarlison. He gave us aggression to the attack that we've, for me, really missed for years and years. His versatility yesterday was evident as well. He played off the right. He even had a spell down the left. When Kane went off, which I'll talk about in a bit, he came in the middle and he had a disallowed goal. But Richarlison, for me, his aggression, his dribbling, he's wrestled players off the ball. I don't know if you noticed there was a transition when they had the ball, and then it was off, I think it was off the right. And Richarlison goes, outmasters the player, gets the ball, and we carry on. And for me, Richarlison also, in addition, like I said, he could have scored. He's hungry. He definitely was the man of the match yesterday. He was everywhere. Literally every tackle he was winning almost. His celebration was something of the 90s on the early 2000s. I thought it was brilliant. It's just a shame it was this loud. But I think if we're talking now overall about our play, I think the first half we were brilliant. I think Bentancur and Højbjerg really did really well. But in the second half, we felt like we put our foot off the brake and we kind of let them back into the game. I'll just make another point. Psychologically, I think taking off Kane made a massive difference because I felt like the Fulham players got a little bit of a lift when he came off. And again, they scored with Mitrovic, who I think only had like 3 or 4 shots yesterday. And I think Romero dealt with them all right. But Mitrovic was their danger man. And for him to come in and have that free shot from that, I think it was like off the left-hand side of our box, like we shouldn't have let that happen. But once Kane came off, I felt psychologically Fulham felt like they could actually like get at them and get at Spurs, sorry. And I think that was the major difference. I think Kane psychologically for us is massive, and he has to start on Wednesday, like almost guaranteed he has to start. As for the debate, Kulusevski came on a bit late on. He didn't really have that much time to do much. I think he created a couple chances from what I remember. The substitutions, like Basuma came on for a bit. I'd like to see him maybe on Wednesday as well. My preferred team for Wednesday, just going off of the past few games for me, I'll go with Lloris. I think Emerson has to start down the right because he doesn't seem to fancy Doherty. He's got Perisic for me, has to start on the left. And you're going to have Romero, Dyer. And I think Longley again has to start because he started really, really well. And then in the middle, I'll probably go with Bentancur I'd actually go Bentancur with Basuma because I think we'll have more of the ball than Marseille. And then, like I said, Perisic off the left, Emerson off the right. But the front three for me would be Richarlison, Kane, and Kulusevski. I think in a game like Marseille, where it's a bit more space for Kulusevski, he can do a bit more damage. I would save Son for City for me because I think just looking forward to the game, I'd probably go with a 3-5-2 away to City next Saturday. Now, I have another video on my channel about this, and that will be on Thursday evening around 7 o'clock. I'm going to do another show on Tuesday before the Champions League game, but I just wanted to do like a very short show today just to go over what happened yesterday. As you can tell, Arsenal finally lost the game, so it's brilliant for us. But going forward, we are playing well, but I think we have to also be mindful that that was the first time I think a manager's ever taken off Kane, and it did give the other team a lift. Whether people like admit it or not, I felt like it really gave Fulham a lift. And I think that's maybe people need to realise that that's why managers weren't taking off Kane before, but now they are. And it was very brave for Conte to do that. And it's a good thing, but also, like I said, it's a bad thing because it's sort of giving teams an encouragement, right? Once he comes off, they've got a chance now. They've got more of a chance because Kane not only is like a focal point, he's sort of like a psychological boost for the rest of the team. Because of his off the ball work, he's sort of like a quiet leader, as they call them nowadays. He's not a loud player like Dyer at the back, but he's a very quiet leader. And if you noticed, there was a bit more depth, of course, because I think Perisic came on and played off the left wing instead of as a wing back. You had Kulusevski down the right, who was again on the bench, and Richarlison moved into the middle. And you could say, oh, that's like a second choice 3, I guess, if you want to call it, sort of thing. And then when Lucas comes back, he'd kind of fill in the slot where Richarlison was in, maybe. But not Perisic. So like for me, yesterday's game was a great result. The first half was brilliant, but in order to have a complete performance, as everyone likes to phrase it like this, let's just say it like that, we need to do that over 90 minutes. And I think that going forward against Marseille, like I said, I'd like to see Basuma with Bentancur just to see how it goes. Conte is very stubborn, so I probably don't think we're going to see that. And I think Sessegnon, for me, has to play Perisic because it's a Champions League game. You kind of have to play him against Man City and Marseille. You have to play Perisic. And Kane will first definitely start on Wednesday. But the conundrum, obviously, he'll have between Kane and Richarlison. And for me, Richarlison has to start because he's been better this season, even though he's had shorter minutes. For me, he's made more of an impact. And for me, I'd tell Son, look, Richarlison's going to play on Wednesday, but you're going to play with Kane up top on Saturday. And I think Son will actually have a bit more room to damage against City. He has quite a good goal scoring record against them as well. And with Kane obviously dropping off maybe a bit more, because I mean City are going to have the majority of the ball next Saturday. Let's be honest. I think it might be more beneficial for us to go to a 3-5-2 as well, because I mean we've got Haaland, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva. There's tons of them, and I know we got a result there last year, but City are also coming off of that draw to Villa, so they're going to be hungry to like destroy us. So I know it won't be as unpredictable as last year. I think that City will be probably more prepared. So looking forward to the next game. Like I said, I'd like to see Bentancur with Basuma, and Richarlison has to stay in the team, which I think means that Son has to be rotated, dropped, however you want to phrase it. So just to close off this short stream, this only went to very short. And guys, once you watch the video, let me know how you feel about it. Is this good, bad? I just wanted like a little summary of the game. So we played really well. There's still areas we need to improve on as a team. For me, it's the longevity of the performance. Like I said, the first half was brilliant. The second half should have been better. We should have killed Fulham well before they scored. And okay, we had 2 disallowed goals, but we should have killed them well before they scored. And looking forward to a game like City, we're going to have to be way more clinical like we were last year. But I do feel like City will be more prepared. And also, we need to be careful about the rotation, because I've got Marseille on Wednesday. So yeah, just going to end the stream, guys, and come on, you Spurs.